First 2 days we went helmet only. The thing that stood out to me is our energy, a lot of positive energy, guys flying around, guys wanting to be coached, a lot of energy out of the coaching staff too. So it's been really a good 2 days. And when you're in helmets, the big thing is you teach the little things, you do a lot of the individual. Saturday be very good for us to kind of see where we're at. First 2 days we rotated pretty much equal reps for everybody on both sides of the football, just trying to give everybody a foundation. And like I said, Saturday we'll learn quite a bit. We'll be pretty physical. So, but overall, I kind of like where we're at, and I like our coaches and our players, energy.
Will Saturday be a scrimmage?
No, it won't be a scrimmage, but it'll be a physical practice. We'll do a lot of stuff up front. We could do some tackling, but it won't be a scrimmage setting.
Over the last year, what have you learned about Darius James, and how has he developed since he's been here, and what do you expect from him this spring?
Yeah, he's a talented young man. He set out last year, was with the scout team. That's always a tough job, especially for an older guy, but he handled it well. Did a solid job with that. Did a good job in our bowl prep. When we had him playing up front, and he's in the spot, and we'll see how he does once Paz gets on Saturday. But we like where he's at, and he's a talented young man.
Any chance he gets to see time on the left side yet?
What's that?
Any chance Darius can see time on the left side?
One thing that you'll see this spring is we will move some people around up front, and not only to try to develop depth, but to try to find the best position for each guy. So we'll probably move people around this spring up front more than we have the previous 3 years. So right now he's playing right tackle, but he'll get some reps at the left side too.
In that same vein, Gus, Robert Leff said the other day that this is now his opportunity. He sat behind Sean and Greg, and it's his opportunity. Have you kind of seen him develop and into what he is now?
Yeah, he's a guy that we have a lot of confidence in. He did a very good job last year, played tight end role, but he also started a couple games and did a very good job when he got in. He's a veteran guy. He's a guy that you can count on. His teammates have a lot of respect for him, and he's a tough guy too. So we're pleased with where he's at.
Gus, to keep kind of on the roll of all these offensive line questions, what have you seen from those 5 guys who redshirted last year in that signing class? Bailey Sharp and Tyler Carr and those guys.
Yeah, I think I could probably answer that question a little bit better after we get pads on, but Coach Hammond's getting those guys reps in there, and we felt like when we recruited that group, it was going to be a very good group, and still feel the same way. And those guys will compete, and we'll see what happens.
Even in helmets and T-shirts, just what have you seen from the quarterback play the first 2 days?
They're all 4 eager. They want to be coached. They're flying around out there, and all 4 have done some good things, and they really want to get better. And so I feel good about the competition we have there, and we'll continue to coach all 4 of those guys and see what happens. And like I said, the first a couple days ago, we're liable to go live some in the spring, and usually when you do that, things separate a little quicker, and so we'll see where we're at. And if we do that, it'll be after spring break, but that's something we've talked about, especially if no one really separates themselves.
Next week, the Bulls Proposal Committee will discuss tablet technology up in the press box at least. I know you talked about wanting to see it on the sidelines. Yeah. Will you try and maybe use that during the spring game to test it out in the press box if it's passed? And also, what are your general thoughts on tablet technology on the sidelines?
Yeah, of course, I'm all for that if that's what happens. And our staff's already talked about some ideas. I don't know about the spring game, but obviously we'll have a plan to try to be as good as we possibly can, whether it's at home or on the road with that. But I'm all for that, and it'll be different. You'll have to have have to be prepared and how to utilize everything. So we'll see what happens.
How do you think it'll help you?
What's that?
How do you think it'll help you?
Well, I think from a coach standpoint, you're always trying to figure out a way to transition, get information to your players. And sometimes, with the naked eye, we've got coaches that have different eyes on different people. But when you see the actual video, that can definitely help the communication and the correction aspect of coaching you know, during the game, not just halftime.
Gus, you talked about tempo Tuesday. What do you have to do? What has to be different to get the tempo up higher?
Well, one thing from a coach's standpoint is just the emphasis. And we always emphasize tempo, but there's a difference in making it a priority. And, you know, so it's going to be a priority with all of our coaches and all of our players. And, you know, it's just a way of life, and we got to get back to that, and that's what we're doing this spring.
Does not having to substitute as much, is that something that in some place you need to get to do that?
That definitely helps. You know, if we can keep the same 11 on the field and do some different formations, that definitely helps. You know, I said it during the season about getting first downs, obviously helps it during games, but really what we looked at is just, you know, having that mindset of who we are and making it a priority, and that's what we've done as a coaching staff.
When it comes to your receivers, how do you feel about the level of experience there at that position?
You know, we have some experience, so we are, well, overall, I think we're inexperienced. I mean, it is, but that can be a good thing. You know, those guys are flying around out there, and Cody's flying around with them, and but there's quite a bit of potential. That's the good thing, and so this spring will be very critical to the development, and then we got a couple guys coming in that we feel like will have a chance to help too, you know, like we talked about earlier. But, you know, I really think the big thing is that we will have some talent to work with there.
Gus, you mentioned Herb Hand, you've known him for a long time. Seeing him back on the field for a couple of days, what stands out when you watch him coach?
Boy, his energy. I mean, he's an energy guy. He's a positive guy. No, just the first 2 days brought back a lot of memories. Tulsa sounds, I can hear the same voices. He got the same sayings and everything. So, but he's doing a great job so far. And the offensive line has really, you know, connected with him, which I think is very important. And you know, we'll see what happens, you know, as spring goes. But I like their energy from him and the offensive line.
Coach, you talked the other day about comfort and familiarity with the staff that you now have and how important that was to you. But that can also be translated to yes men. Do you have guys that you can turn to that will say, hey Gus, you sure you want to do that? You sure that's a good idea?
Well, I think when if you got respect both ways, if you've been around a lot of people and you got confidence in them, it works both ways. And so no, those are guys that you know, have either been in the offense and played in the offense and have or has been with me, you know, when we've been very successful in offense. So I think it's a very positive thing, and you know, they definitely have the okay to, and with this group, I'm asking their opinion about a lot of stuff. So that probably answered that question probably better than anything.
Is Woody Ford? Go ahead. Tyler Ford, how's he doing? Now he's back out there.
Yeah, I think first of all, I'm glad to be back out there. You know, we got him on a pitch count as far as his arm is concerned, but you know, you can tell he's excited and he's flying around out there.
So he's not really not having sore arms or anything?
No, he responded. You know, the first day we were seeing how it was going to respond. That he threw the ball the same amount today. So I think right now he's in a good spot.
Guess you talk about Jovan and the running backs in general and kind of what the plan is there this spring.
Yeah, you know, him and Rock, you know, getting a lot of carries, you know, with that first group, and you know, the rest of the guys they're gonna give an opportunity too. Pat Way's a guy that we're giving some carries at the traditional, you know, tailback. You know, he played tailback in high school, and Chandler Cox the same way. So, you know, in spring, those guys, those two especially, will be at fullback and tailback. So just try to give some depth.
Any thought of giving Rudy Ford any more looks there?
Is possibly he could have a role in offense, possibly. I'm not ready to say that yet, but he's got playmaking ability, and he did a great job in the return game. And of course, when he picked off that one and took it back to the house, it was pretty impressive too.
Guys, is Rudy banged up, and was he able to practice?
He's sick. He's sick. No, there's nothing more, nothing major other than the fact that he was sick and we held him out these two practices. But Saturday's a possibility.
Gus, we've seen your BMW on social media quite a bit. I don't see you as a BMW guy. What went into that decision? And we've seen some recruits obviously liking it.
Yeah, you know, I've never had a sports car. I turned 50. And figured it was time to go ahead and get one.
So you own it? Is it on lease? Do you own it?
I mean, Yeah, it's my car. It's probably the best way to answer that.
You taking it for a joyride, or
Yeah,
are you getting used to it?
Yeah, I gotta get used to it. Yeah, I've never had one before, so it takes a little getting used to, but, I kinda like it.
Would you let one of us take it up for a spin?
I can understand.
A couple of you, I probably would. Yeah.
Totally.
James missed the last press conference, so he's in the doghouse.
Gus, we won't get you until after pro day. You know, have you finalized who you're gonna invite, and specifically, are you gonna invite Duke Williams?
This weekend, we'll have all that finalized. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.